This is Lois. I'm with KZGN-TV, and this is Ridgecrest Talk. And today I'm continuing to talk with Ron Schiller, who we had on last week. And we're going to talk a little bit more about some of the hurdles that their club has to get over, and some of the things that are coming down the pike that are good and some that aren't necessarily so good. Thank you for being with us. I appreciate it. Thank you for coming in. And we were talking just before we ended last week about some of the favorite places that Ron likes to go to. And then he told me that there's a outside chance, or a good chance, I don't know, that some of those may not be accessible. And would you explain that to me a little bit?
Well, there's several factors that have affected our access to much of the public lands. One that has been ongoing for some time is
You've been a bit in the middle of that for a while, right?
Since 1986.
Oh, man. Oh.
The West Mojave Plan, of course, to make a long story short, that was settled. However, like everything else, we went into litigation with the environmental groups, and they continue to sue everyone. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's just a normal part of the process, I guess, now.
I guess.
But what happened is the environmentalists didn't feel that they closed enough roads with the development of the West Mojave Plan, so they filed a lawsuit, and it's actually been in court for quite some time now.
What kind of a lawsuit? I mean, did they file against you guys?
No, it's filed against the BLM as normal, and they claim that the BLM didn't follow their 1980 management plan, and so the issue was they claimed that there were so many roads that were recognized under that plan, and this West Mojave Plan recognizes more than what they should have allowed. They were gonna. Initially, it started out that through the courts, they mandated that there would be only 5,000 miles of road through the entire West Mojave Plan. That's essentially from Inyo Kern to Needles, and from the Mexican border to Lone Pine.
And 5,000 miles is dropping the bucket.
So
that's part of the fun of living here, is being able to go out to the desert.
That's right. I've done it all my life.
Yeah.
So after some time, the BLM started doing more inventory and started looking at what was actually being used by the public, and said, whoa. You know, we argued right off the bat, 5,000 miles isn't going to cut it. And so the BLM had started looking at what's actually being used and was really, really surprised. And one point...
More or less surprised.
Surprised at how many. Actually, they were proposing 10,000 on the last proposal. That's without public comment. Now that public comment is getting involved, they're starting to realize that, hey, you know, we've got this mineral site we want to collect, and these guys want to access this place for hunting, and this is important for equestrians, and this is and so now they went through a public comment period, and which was not long enough and adequate enough to, you know, how do you tell someone which road in the desert that you want to keep open to access something that you want to get to?
It's not that easy, is it? Because
No.
I might go 20 miles up there and turn and
Right.
Yeah.
And some people have no idea. They just know they go there and they know how to get there.
Yeah. I can
know.
show you, but you know.
Right. So trying to define this is I have found a way to do it.
Oh yeah.
Right, but it takes what you have to do is you have to use Google Earth, any maps that you have, your old maps, your topo maps, then you can download, and this is what's really neat. Most people don't know this. You can download for free all of the USGS topo maps right off the internet. A lot of those have been converted so that you can move your cursor around and it will give you the GPS coordinates.
Oh, that's interesting.
Right.
Yeah. When we were first going to those meetings, they would mail us back a map,
Right.
and then we had to go searching around on it.
Right.
So now it's all online.
Right. Right. And
That's
so,
wonderful.
and now the BLM, I know during the whole West Mojave plan, I hollered and hollered, even when I was on the Desert Advisory Council for the BLM, you have to put these maps on something people can relate to. You just can't have a blank piece of paper with looks like spaghetti thrown on it.
Pretty much.
So this last round, they based them on topographic maps.
Wonderful.
So and now they're available in what the PDF Adobe format. You can download them. It takes you forever, but you can go right down to the BLM and get them on a disc.
All right.
So now what I do is I take
Excuse me.
I take the map out of the management plan, and I can see a lot of that, and the roads are marked red or green for what they want to close, what they want to keep open.
Oh, really? Okay.
And they show you the routes that are not designated right now. And being on topo maps, you can see all the original routes.
I'm sorry.
So I found a way to manipulate the maps, and with the new Adobe software, which is free, you can take that map, isolate that section, and then you can mark it up.
This is where I really want to go, but then you got to see if there's a route to get there
Right.
and all that.
So
Oh, wow.
then if you don't know exactly where it's at, then you go to download the appropriate topo map. Or if you don't know what topo map, then you go to Google Earth. And with the Google Earth, you should be able to find it because you've been there.
And it looks like it.
Right,
Yeah,
and it looks like it. So I'll go to Google Earth, take the GPS coordinate, find out which topo map it's on, download the topo map, and if you download the old topo maps, many times it'll show you the road that you're using.
Perfect.
And between that, I can take and mark the BLM map with the items that I want to keep and make a circle and an arrow and say, this is where we collect this jasper. Or
Wow.
and then I can take that and you take a snapshot. Once you take a snapshot, and I use a program called PDF 995, which
We're
is
going to be back in a minute. You can tell us more about it.
Okay.
Okay? We'll be back in about 2 minutes. Okay, we're back with Lois and Ron Schiller, and he's talking to us about some of the roadways and some of the problems and difficulties and some of the successes that have happened through BLM. And we were talking about maps, and you were talking about a
Right.
different PDF.
right. What we're talking about was making a meaningful comment to the BLM that they could understand exactly what you were talking
Right.
about. And so by using a combination of Google Earth and Adobe, downloading USGS topo maps right from the government website for free, and using the maps that the BLM has published on CDs for what they're considering for opening and closing on roads.
And you can go out there to BLM and pick up one of those CDs.
You can pick up the CD.
Are there costs for them? Or?
No,
Oh, good.
no
Okay.
cost for them.
Well, that's good.
And once you do that, then if you use a program called PDF 995, which is a free program.
Really?
Yes,
Okay.
it's and what it does is it will print anything on your screen or anything that you want to copy as an Adobe file.
Oh,
So if you take and you use all this information data you've gathered, and you take a screenshot of the topo map, then you save that into a PDF 995. And you can take just that screenshot with all your explanation and all your documents and just put them all in one single PDF file using Adobe 995.
now do you email that to BLM, or
And
do you
then
just
you can,
take it? Or?
you can email it right to them as a comment.
Wow.
And so the comment period has just been reopened.
Oh, good.
We were granted another 120 days.
Really? All right.
And I'm optimistic.
Really? Good.
I am very optimistic.
It sounds like they're trying to work with you.
It sounds like they are for
Yeah.
a change.
Yeah,
And-
because
and
usually
it-
this is it.
Right. And so I have felt real comfortable with the people I've worked with from the BLM, and so you take that and you email it right to them. They have a special email address to send the comments to, and then because I don't think they're really trying to close a lot of stuff. What they're doing is justifying the uses, or justifying the roads through the ongoing uses that are legitimately there already. And my interest in is in rock hounding and gem and mineral collecting, but it doesn't matter if you're equestrian or off-roader or
They just like to camp out
just
there,
that family with camping or,
Right.
or anything else. So anyone should be able to document.
This is where we go. We've always done it for years and years,
Right.
and this is why I want to be able
Right.
to continue.
Right,
This
and
is
you
it.
identify these roads, and all the roads on the map, open or closed, are numbered. So you can identify which particular system of roads you use to access.
Perfect.
And so it has actually works pretty good because the BLM base maps are on over topo maps. You can see the old roads. So if part of the road you use is not designated open or closed or recognized by the BLM, you can say, hey, here it is on this 1956 topo map.
And it's still here because I
and
use it. Yeah.
and you can see it on the map.
Oh, that's wonderful.
And
That's
so,
really good.
yeah, it has made
Yeah.
commenting a whole lot easier.
Certainly it would. Yeah.
So
And are they having more meetings now, or
they
after
will
your
be
20
having.
120
They
days?
haven't been announced yet. We'll
Okay.
have one here in Ridgecrest,
Okay.
and the comment period will be open to January the 25th.
Ah.
So that's one of the factors that.
And during that time, will they have a meeting, or after that?
No, they'll have a meeting before the end of the
Oh,
end of the
before the
comment
comment.
period.
Good, good,
And they will usually accept comments at the meeting, but don't bet on it because if there's nobody there recording the comments, then they don't mean anything because they're not recording.
You make your comments, but you should also email them.
Right.
If you do
or
that.
hand them, or write them and hand them to them at the meetings.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but we have other factors that have a potential to hurt us in our excess area.
There's a problem that I see, and I may be all wet, but there's a different mentality in Western folks and Eastern folks. And when you get back there, they don't see any need for desert not just being closed and saved for God, I don't know what, but
Right.
save it, And there's hard to meet the minds because they don't think the way that we
Well,
do.
it's interesting because one time during our last battle when we were fighting over the Desert Wilderness Act, I got upset with a reporter in Washington, and she didn't know what she was talking about.
Plain and simple.
And I sent her an email, and I addressed it to her, and I said, you don't know what you're talking about. Come out here and let me show you.
There you go.
And she did.
Oh,
I met her in
right.
Barstow, and I took her. We had a meeting in Barstow first, and I had the mayors of several cities there, 29 Palms, Barstow, and others. I had cattlemen there from all around the area, and we all sit down at this big conference table, and I said, now, ask anybody anything you want.
There you go.
This is the route.
Time for you to understand.
Right.
Yes.
And then we spent the whole day out in the desert on a tour. I took her to people's houses. I took her to people's ranches. I took her to the old museum that Dennis Casebeer runs in Essex.
Oh, yeah?
And the first thing she got when we got out of Barstow and out in the open hill, the first comment was she looked around and she said, there's nothing here.
Uh-huh.
And I said, wait a minute.
Let me show you.
We took her to springs. We took her to artificial water sources, guzzlers. We took her the whole day,
She got a trip.
and when she got home, she wrote a pretty decent
Did she really?
article.
There was more than that
Right,
there. Yeah.
right.
My husband was from New York, and his friend came out to see us out here, and he said, "There's nothing green." You know, well, we have our own beauty. It's a little different than yours,
Right.
but see, they just don't see it. That's a perfect
Right.
way to do it, to invite her out. And then maybe other people that listen to her would
Right.
read that.
Right.
That's great. Okay.
But now we have another problem with Senator Feinstein for some time has been wanting to pass another wilderness bill. And it's basically along the old Route 66. And it will cover almost all of our gem and mineral collecting sites.
We're going to talk about that when we get back, okay?
Okay.
We'll talk about what Ms. Feinstein's going to do, and we'll be back in about 2 minutes. We're back. You're back with Ron Schiller, and he's telling us a little bit about working with the BLM and some of the people that have attempted and will attempt to close things, one particular Senator Feinstein. So tell me what her plan is.
Well, her plan involves another national park wilderness bill. It's really funny, but what's caused this to come about was in 1994, we passed the Desert Protection Act, which created almost 12 million acres of wilderness national parks. Well, part of the realization is that, and what happened there was that a lot of the private land, which was Catellis land, which is real estate owned by the railroad.
Oh, okay.
They had a bunch of worthless land. They ended up selling the government for a lot of money, or actually sold to nonprofit organizations who gave it to the government. What they didn't realize was you can donate land to the government to be managed along with the public lands. It'll essentially be public lands once you donate it.
Oh.
You don't get to pick how it's managed. It has to fall within the bounds of the surrounding management designation for the area.
I see.
Well, that was all great until we started getting all these demands for solar energy. Mm-hmm. Okay, now guess where the number one spot is for solar energy? All these lands
I'm sorry.
that was bought from Catellis and donated to the government.
Donated to the so they had that.
Right.
Oh,
So
wow.
now, all of a sudden, all these groups are all upset because, this
Look,
land
I
hasn't
donated
been-
that to you, and now look what you're going to do with it. Or
Right, more or less. So essentially, that's prompted Senator Feinstein to create another national park or some type of land protection act, which is actually there's several involved. There's one that's San Jacinto down by Palm Springs that's involved in part of it. Part of it is the Route 66 National Monument or
that's a
National
long
Park.
way.
That's right, and it covers all of our areas. So the situation now is she hasn't been able to get that passed.
Good. I mean, good.
Right. The problem is now she's threatening to go to Barack Obama and get him just to designate it
With
as
his
a
pen
monument.
and his phone.
Right.
Yeah.
And so as a result, either one has a tremendous possibility of impacting our access for gem and mineral collecting and other recreation opportunities,
certainly.
especially in the Katy Mountains. With the Katy Mountains and the area, which is essentially from Afton Canyon south to Interstate 40 and along Lavick Siding and along Interstate 40, where so many of our gem and mineral collecting sites
Right.
are. So she has worked with the San Bernardino County, the San Bernardino congressman, Paul Smith. Is it Smith?
Could be there is a Smith down there,
Yeah, I think
I'm not
it's.
sure.
Anyway, they're working together on a bill.
And he's a congressman too.
Right, he's a congressman, and so they're working on companion bills. One problem for us is there's an area that we go locally to collect different onyx and different materials, and onyx is good for making bookends and large stuff. And we have a site out south of town near the Spangler Open area, in an area generally around Christmas Canyon. And that's a 1,200 acre that's proposed to be created or expanded in the wilderness for the that adjacent wilderness area. I can't remember.
So there'd be no access.
Right, there'd be nothing there.
Wow.
So we're very concerned about that, and so we need to write our congressman about that.
I was wondering if everybody could help.
Right,
Yeah.
and really, it's such a tiny little spot. It's only 1,200 acres. You know, do they really need
They need
to add
that,
that 1,200 acres that really doesn't have? It, I mean, the place I'm talking about was a commercial quarry. You know,
Come on.
it's not wilderness quality.
No, it wouldn't be.
And so you know,
At least pull that out. maybe
right.
some
So
of the others.
we need to write our congressman, which you know you can write the author, which is I think it's Paul Smith if I remember correctly. But you know it doesn't do us any real good to write Paul Smith. We need to write
That's right. We need to
Congressman
write
McCarthy.
Kevin McCarthy. Right.
Right, and let
Yeah.
him work that out. And then if we have any friends in San Bernardino County that
Get them to write
Get
their
them to
guy.
write.
Yeah.
And
Because if
so-
you go on their website, they probably won't even. They don't respond to you unless you live in their county.
yeah,
Because it'll say, where do you live? And they say Ridgecrest, and I never hear a thing from them.
right.
People
And,
tell
and
me
I don't I never liked emailing comments to congressmen.
Yeah, it doesn't
but,
seem to get there because it's got 2 or 3 different
No,
assistants.
what I found
before.
the best was what I always did when I was writing congressmen and senators a lot. What I liked to do was fax it and then mail it.
Ah, that's a
And
good
that
idea.
way they got it twice.
One or the other times, right.
Right.
And then you can also call them, which doesn't necessarily get
Right.
to the guy, but they'll check the box and say
Right.
you got a pro or a con on
Right.
that. So that's good. Well, there's so much going on, and you can hear a lot about this, and you can also join the Gem and Mineral Club. And I don't know if you had a chance last week to see it at the fairgrounds, but in case you didn't, how would they go about joining? Would they call you or?
To join the club, the best thing the best thing is to go to the show on the 7th and 8th and join there. If not there, we have a general meeting on the 4th Monday of every month at 527 up John Street.
So you could just drop into your meeting.
Just drop it. That's the preferred way.
Okay.
Because the sponsors, you know, you can come Thursday and Friday night, but that's just people working in the
Working on the
shop.
machines, right?
Right.
Yeah, they've
And-
got a whole bunch of
And
machines.
so the
over there.
best time to join is to come to a general meeting on the 4th Monday of the month, and if you want to go earlier than that, you can come to the shop on Thursday evening.
And just kind of look around and
Right,
probably meet with you.
we have open shop every Thursday evening
Okay.
from 6:30 to 9
Sounds
for people
great.
to run the machine. So if you show up, then there's another way you can.
You've got another avenue to get together with these good folks and enjoy our desert. It's really something to be proud of. And I appreciate you coming. Thank you
Oh,
so
you're more than
much.
welcome.
And we're going to have him another time and see how these things shake
Okay,
out.
anytime.
Thank
I'd
you
be
very
happy
much.
to be here.
And I'll see you next week.